Hello, welcome to Monday Morning Matters live broadcast show brought to you by Magnicraft Consulting Team, anchored by Niyi Dunmade, a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the U.S. Here, each Monday of every week, we address important, relevant, actionable topics of interest that will help you and your church grow healthier. And now, meet your host, Niyi Dunmade.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. My name is Niyi Dunmade, founder, CEO, Magnicraft Consulting. Magnicraft Consulting is a church consulting firm that helps local churches to grow healthier through empirical assessment, trainings, and strategic blueprint. I'm supposed to have done this live broadcast in the morning. Some people private chatted me and they were looking for my notification, and I felt that I need to give an explanation to why the live broadcast did not take place on this morning. I had a training in Benin, and that was a bit stressful on my part. And then on coming back, we had this sad news that happened in one of our churches in Ondo State. Owo, precisely the Owo church attack, where over 50 people were killed. And the governor, Governor Akeredolu, is also back to the state. And so it's just a painful incident. People are trying to worship God, to perceive that was just 50 days after the Easter holidays. That's signifying the Pentecost. And then we have that kind of gruesome killing that were taking place in that place. Bombing in the church, killing the church in St. Francis Catholic Church, Ondo State, yesterday afternoon by some 4 or 5 gunmen walking into the auditorium, and then were able to just kill a lot of innocent lives, massacre innocent lives. We usually have these things happening in the north, but now it just shows that the insecurity is at all-time high. I know when I was trying to travel to Benin, all my loved ones were a bit concerned. The roads are not safe. The areas around the major cities in our countries are not safe. And so we need to be very careful. What I would say is, I'm just here to just encourage a pastor. These are the times when we have what the Russian and Ukraine war is there, which is causing a lot of food crisis, a lot of scarcity, inflation, and socio-economic downturn in our nations. And so we have also the issue of complexity, ambiguity. COVID-19 is there affecting our churches, in terms of how they should have been able to build up back pre-COVID era. We also have a lot of volatility, a lot of people are on their edge. And so trying to be a pastor, trying to be a shepherd who is meant to provide, to protect, to lead and manage the church is a difficult thing to do. And so today I'm just going to do a quick one, but next Monday we're going to go hit around on major issues to be addressed, major issues church leaders need to address. And one of them, which I will say quick, I'm just going to mention like 3 of them, and then possibly we're going to take them one after the other in the subsequent Mondays for the month of June. One has to be your church governance, okay? Church governance, I believe, can help most of our government, our politicians, to be able to regard the church because they know the directors or the board of trustees who are behind the church, okay? And then that also can help to facilitate and lead the church better into revitalization. So that's one of the things that you will need to address in terms of our church in Nigeria. Most of our churches need to tidy up the church governance in our churches. Church governance is very, very, very important, as in the alignment of the authority that comes from God down to the congregation. Okay. One of the things I also want to say with church governance is that I know Nigerian churches are praying, but you see, most of the time, a lot of things is going to happen, take place when our obedience is complete. Most churches are not having turnovers to CAC. Most churches are not aligning themselves to what's going on in terms of rules and regulation in the country, and we need to make sure that we are actually on the same table in terms of how we ought to live according to the laws of the land. So church governance is very, very important. Most churches don't even want to even register with the CAC, and so that's one area we need to tidy up and we need to address. And so in subsequent Mondays, we're going to address the issue of church governance. One of my good friend in South Africa, who is very good in this area, we were able to have some partnership in Leadership Development Institute in South Africa. We know there's some good resource in terms of church governance that will help to facilitate your church to become healthy. Then the second one has to do with a lot of these insecurities are going on, a lot of persecution, killings, all kinds of attacks. But I would say quickly that all these things should not make the church to lock up inwards. There should still be a deliberate attempt at looking outwards. Okay, when I mean looking outwards, because the mandate of the church is to go into the world and to preach the gospel. Go into the world and to preach the gospel. Go into the world and to preach the gospel. So when we have all these attacks, when we have all these persecution, all these killings, we need to make sure that the church does not lock up inwards. We still need to be light of the world. We still need to be salt of the earth, and we also need to go out of the four walls of our churches to reach out to the unchurched, to reach out to our community, and to make sure that we are actually making maximum impact in the community. So that's one of the things, how to make a shift from the natural way to lock up into the inward, to be inwardly focused, and then to fulfill the Great Commission in order to be outwardly focused. Okay, loving your neighbor as yourself, knowing your community as it should, and then being able to love, reach out, and retain them adequately to the Lord in this end time that we're living. And then the third one is so crucial, where we have to make sure that we go back to evangelism. When I made a post on Facebook, I was so devastated with the attack in Owo, St. Francis Catholic Church, and one of my elderly sister in Lagos made a statement that if we had done good evangelism in the north, probably we wouldn't have had this kind of devastation coming down to the south. Because the thing is that the fact that it's not coming into where you are staying does not mean that you should not care. That's just am I my brother's keeper mentality. But the thing is, let's get back to evangelism and discipleship. And that is the major core of it all. So the third one has to do with majoring on the major, and that's evangelism and discipleship. Okay, the church is not called to big programs. The church is not called to big day events. The church is not called to philanthropic givings. The church is majorly called to go into the world and preach the gospel, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and making disciples, making sure that those disciples are so maturing. Because if you have more disciples who are maturing, we're going to have people in the mission field, we're going to have people in the streets shining as lights, and then the darkness which we now see will not be over us as a country. And so those are the three areas, okay, in terms of biblical church governance, in terms of switching from an inward focus, despite all the persecution, to an outward focus, and then going back to the very core of why we exist as a church, which is evangelism and discipleship. I want to draw the curtain right now. Please share this video to your pastor I want you to pray for your pastor. I want you to also send some encouraging words to him, because at this moment is actually a very difficult time to lead a church, okay, where the church is actually having all these kind of attacks, both on social media, from the bandits, from the extreme terrorists, and things like that. So let's see how the pastors who are actually on the verge of stress, on the verge of burnout, or in terms of losing the confidence, because I'm wondering how those worshippers in St. Francis Catholic Church will be able to go back to that same building to actually worship God. It's actually going to be so much traumatic, and so and we also have this mentality. It's happened to one. Then all of us need to be concerned, whether you are a Christian or not. It's going to we need to be concerned. We need to be our brother's keeper. So those three things, we're going to make sure that we get ourselves locked up in those Monday morning sessions, the 3 Monday mornings for the month of June. Major issues church leaders need to address. I mentioned those three in terms of biblical church governance, in terms of switching deliberately from an inward focus to an outward focus. And then the third one has to do with going back to majoring on the major, going back to the very core, which is evangelism and discipleship. Evangelism and discipleship. And so, please, if you want to become a certified church consultant, Tom Rayner, a very good friend and mentor of mine, will give a massive discount to people, church leaders. We need to help more churches. We need to help to revitalize more churches. There are a lot of churches in Nigeria, and we need more consultants who are trained, who are equipped with the necessary tools to be able to help and revitalize churches in our country. Please go to our social media handles, like our Facebook page, get us on our Twitter page to tweet. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then please, we do a lot of trainings, we do a lot of revitalization, strategic planning, we also do consulting. Our numbers are on the screen. It's really not a happy mood right now for me, but then our church needs to get back on the feet so that the light that we are, the salt that we are to the world, will not be out of relevance. Okay? So please let us see how we can equip your church staff, your volunteers, your workforce, your leaders with the necessary tools to be able to strive in the vast changing world. The thing is, our world has changed. Our world has changed massively. And so we need to make sure that we are well equipped to be able to reach out to the complex world, to the world that is filled with uncertainty, with the world that is changing so fast, and the demands of change can be overwhelming. You have any questions, you have any need, you need any resources to help your church move from where it is right now to where it ought to be, please reach out to us. I will be glad to help you. I will be glad to also hear you out to see what areas we can help your church move out from whatever predicament, whatever situation your church is right now. Okay, please reach out to me on any of our social media handles, and I'm sure you'll be glad you connected with us on any of our social media handles. So please, thank you for following us on this. This will just be a kind of replacement for a teaser for what we should have done in the morning. Major church issues to be addressed today. Major issues church leaders must begin to address if at all their church needs to have some major relevance in the community and a major revival in our land. Thank you so much. Till I come your way next week Monday with a continuation from the first three of these things. God bless you. I'm praying for you, and I know that as we pray, let us also ensure that we are doing what it takes to defend ourselves, to make sure that those bandits do not stop us from worshiping our living God. Those extremists do not stop us from giving glory to God who has been there for us from times and ages past. God bless you. I pray for you, and I see you till Monday. Thank you.